Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do a standard toilet rebuild, which is a new fill valve or ballcock, whatever you want to call it, a 20-inch braided steel flex supply, which is 7/8 by 3/8. This will be the connection to the valve. This will actually connect to the shank of the ballcock. This is a standard brasscraft 2-inch flapper, and this is a crane elongated toilet. So what he's having is the toilet is not shutting off all the way. This is your old float assembly ballcock. This is the flush valve assembly, this tube that goes down, and then the flapper is attached to it. So first thing we're going to do, set the lid down. I'm going to shut the valve off. Don't crank too hard on it, you don't want to break it. And we're going to flush the toilet. Get as much water as possible out of it. Now the smartest thing to do would be to take a shop vac or something and suck the water out of the tank, or use a big sponge and draw the water out and then squeeze it out into the bowl of the toilet. I don't typically do that. I have a different method for it, but smartest thing to do for somebody that's not doing this on a daily basis is to get it out, get all the water out before you do this rebuild. Okay, so now that the water is off and the water's drained out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my channel lock 426 mini channel locks. And I am going to start by taking this supply off and loosen it up. Usually put a rag or some toilet paper or something around the valve, because you're going to get some water out of it. It's being very unforgiving. I'm going to take this, let's get the camera down here, unscrew this. Which usually can be done by hand. And there's the water I spoke of. Then you can finish loosening this. More water out of that. Set that off to the side. Dry the water up. More toilet paper. Please excuse the jarring around with the camera. Trying to do all this one-handed. I will soon get a GoPro, so I won't have to worry about holding something. Okay, now that that is finished, I'm going to take my new inline Pro Series Fluidmaster. That is my fill tube. This is the fill tube mount. This is the nut that screws onto the fill valve shank. And then I have this rubber piece. Now, you see how there's little tabs on this inner funnel piece. You're actually just going to tear that off. You can either cut these tabs with a knife, or you can just use your fingers. And rip it out so that you have just the rounded piece. And you'll see that it's got a kind of like a cone shape. Now what you want to do is you want the cone shape down like that. You want to put it on the bottom of the fill valve shank. Keep in mind I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me. That's on there all the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down. See how that slides out of the way? That's how you lock that in place. I'm going to set the phone down just for a second. Try to set it down in a way where I can still show you what I'm doing. And then I'm going to grab a hold of this down here and grab a hold of it up here, and I'm going to pull it apart. So now you got two bases. So I'm going to stick this back in here. And I'm going to try to line it up to see how much I need. So I usually put this around the bottom, somewhere around here, and then look back at the top to see where it's going to end up, just to get a rough estimate. Once I have it set, then I will lock this piece back down in place, just like that. And now it won't, if you try to pull on it, it won't move. So that's what you want. And then I set that right there just for the time being. Put the box off to the side, and then I'm going to take this nut right here, I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to take these two pieces and I'm going to connect this to the end. So all you do is put your hose onto the nippled end, just like that, and then I'm going to measure from here to here. Now when you do this, I'm going to take this off because we don't need that. You usually stick this right here, roughly, and I want to make a loop like this. So I kind of get a rough estimate as to how long I need it. Then I'm going to cut this excess off of here. I'm going to cut about that much off, so I'm going to set you back down. Okay, got it cut off now that it's what I need. I'm going to put the opposite end of that tube right onto this little nipple right here, because that's where the water comes out. And just put that tube over top of the nipple. And now I have it connected to the side of the fill valve. Pretty easy, right? All right. I'm gonna set that back there. Then I'm going to take my channel hooks. I'm gonna open them up. And then I'm going to unscrew this nut right here. My method, I still have water in the tank, just a little bit. So I'm just gonna break that nut loose. And then I'm going to take the nut off. I'm gonna use a piece of toilet paper to hold the water back. I will have to set the phone down just for a moment. Ouch. Set the phone right here so maybe I can still see what I'm doing here. All right. Use a little bit of toilet paper. Pull the ballcock out. Put the new one back in. And then I'm going to put my nut on the bottom of the fill valve shank and tighten it up. Nice and tight. All right. Okay, now I have my new nut on there nice and tight. I've got my new fill valve in there. I'm going to take this. You see the direction of this. This is where the water's going to come out. So I'm going to connect this to the side of the flush tube. Just like that. See how we have it? Make sure that the tube isn't in the way. It's not going to stop the float from coming up. And then you'll see the float is a little higher than the flush tube. So what you want to do is you just want to counterclockwise turn this until it's just below this, the top surface is just below the top of that. That should do it. Should be just right. Just below it. Okay, so we're going to take our old ballcock out of here. Then we're going to take our flapper off. Now you got to be really careful with these tabs. So I usually take it from the bottom, put my thumb on the tab, and pull this up. I'll cut that one off. I'm going to do the other side too. Same way. Now, if they're really hard, if the flapper is really tough and it's not very rubbery anymore, you can cut this top piece right here. Cut that right there and it'll come right off. And we have our handle here. So we're going to take the chain off of this loop. Okay, we're going to put our flapper, our new flapper back on. So we're going to put it on one side. One tab, tab 2, we grab our chain. Now this is very important. If you see, we don't want to leave all this chain in here like this, because then the flapper will lift up and the chain will go underneath the flapper like this, and then the flapper will sit down and it won't seat all the way, so you'll have a leak. So what I like to do is measure the chain right to the edge. So I put my finger right on the chain where I want it to end up. Try to set the phone down here without dropping it in the toilet. And then I take the hook off the end of the chain, put it where I have my thumb. See? Close that back off. And then I'm going to reconnect it to one of these holes here. I'm going to go with the second hole because that's closer to it. Then I'm going to cut my excess chain off after I tighten down my hook here. Tighten down the hook so it can't jump off. And then I'm going to take the excess chain off. So you can either cut it with a pair of pliers or you can just pull it off. See? And then we only have maybe one or two links with the slack left on it. Nice and easy. You never want a whole bunch of slack. You just want a little bit. Alright, we got our fill valve in there. We got our flapper done already. So, what I like to do is I put the side on the valve first. Put that on there first. Now, if you have a CPVC, which is plastic water supply, you want to put your hand on the valve to hold it to keep it from spinning. This damn supply in my way. But so you don't want the whole thing to spin when you go to tighten this. So once you start to tighten it, you'll feel the resistance. You just want to get it nice and snug. Then, depending on how long your supply tube is, you may have to loop it. A little loop in it. And then we bring it up. And connect this to the bottom of the flush valve shank, or the fill valve shank. You only want to do this hand tight. You don't want to crank on this with a wrench. You put your loop out of the way. Alright, and that's it really. Turn this on. Make sure that packing nut's not leaking. If you do feel water dripping out from right here, you can put your channel locks on this nut right here. See that? And you can tighten down just a little bit. This is called a packing nut. By tightening down just a tiny little bit, you can stop that leak. I'm gonna wait for this to fill up. Set you back down here. All the parts here in the box. The fill valve came in. Channel locks in my pocket. I promise I'll get a GoPro soon. You don't have to go through all this fumbling and jumping around. Now the water level is going to stop just before it gets to the top of that flush valve. Then we test. Flush, you should be able to let go of the handle right away. Flush as like a champ. And the flapper seats all the way without any slack getting in there to stop it. And that's it. Minor tank repair.